Right place at the right time because we're going to bring the millionaire.
That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. Good morning, millionaires. Hold up, hold up.
Thank you. Please announce yourself. All participants are muted. Entry and exit tones are off.
Okay, good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope everybody's feeling good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a revenue acceleration coach, a self-esteem development expert, starting with my own. And our whole goal is to help you move further, faster, with less effort. We do this Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. And we also have a newsletter that comes out that, you ask me, it's the best newsletter out in the game. Every single week, we give you little snippets of mindset, little snippets of heart set, and then little snippets of skill set. You get that every Friday at 3:30 p.m. So make sure you register for the newsletter. Every time it's like mindset, skill set, heart set. You see that? Mindset, skill set, heart set. Y'all see that? It's like mindset. We acknowledging all the good there is. Skill set. Like this dude, Da Vinci, was ill. They'd be like, why you got the Mona Lisa back there? Because Da Vinci. That's why. I don't know how many of y'all know about Leonardo da Vinci, but I don't have a painting from Imhotep or something like that. And at the end of the day, we are the human race. You know what I'm saying? And then there's heart set. This whole idea to like, hey, you better cherish the day. You better cherish the day. Hold up. Because the clock is always ticking. You know what I'm saying? So this morning, what we're talking about, y'all, hold up. Make sure you like, comment, share, shameless plug, all that good stuff. Make sure you like, comment, share. You know what I mean? Rep your city right now. Let them know where we at. Let them know where we at. Let them know where we at. Where we checking in from. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody. All right. Yeah, let them know where you're checking in from. And what we're talking about this morning is fear. Yeah, we're talking about fear this morning. Because yesterday we spent a lot of time kind of talking about, let them know where you're from. Let them know where you're from. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yesterday we were talking about this book called The Alchemist. Were y'all with us yesterday? Were y'all here yesterday? We were talking about this book called The Alchemist. And we were breaking down how, one of the principles of this book is that no matter what, you can't let fear stop you. And it got me thinking, like, why is fear such a part of all of our lives? You ever thought about the purpose of fear? Like what fear has done for humanity? Like why God and all his wisdom would give us something like fear? Well, the most important purpose of fear is to help us stay safe, right? And this ability to stay safe has served us faithfully for centuries. I mean, ever since mankind has been roaming the earth, it's represented, this whole fight or flight response that we all enact when we are reacting instead of responding. Fear heightens our awareness. It sharpens our senses, right? And it heightens our awareness and sharpens our senses when we need it the most. This is why, contrary to what most people tell you, contrary to widespread perception, fear ain't always bad. Like one thing my therapist has really hurt me with, one of the things that my therapist has really helped me with is the fact that you don't need to be thinking about things like they're good or bad. The idea is it helpful or harmful? So what I got for you this morning is 6 ways to boost your courage and make fear helpful, not harmful, right? These are the 6 best ways I could come up with. Maybe you have some that I left out. I encourage you to throw them in the chat, throw them in the comments, you know what I mean? Throw them in your notes. But these are the 6 that I had for you. Here's the first one. You got to name your fear. When I say name your fear, I mean understand your fear, accept your fear. You got to give a name to it because facing this stuff can be an uphill battle. The reason, hold up, I got to pull it up once again. The reason that you see this filling wheel up here in the corner is because I want to encourage you to Google it. Google a filling wheel because a filling wheel helps you to identify your emotions. When you ain't making them phone calls for your business, do you know that's because you're dealing with something emotionally? Do you know that? When you're not using the potential you have to change the lives of yourself, your children, your family. Do you realize that's something emotional going on? You're dealing with something mental. And yeah, putting too much pressure on yourself can be counterproductive. What you need to do is make these words kind of like your motto. Easy does it. Easy does it. This weekend in the Kaizen Academy, I hope y'all tune in. I hope you participate in this weekend's Kaizen Academy, because one of the most powerful things you're going to learn is how easy does it. Easy does it. You ain't going to start off having a body and the capability to run a marathon. But let me tell you what you can do. You can take one step. You can walk around the block one time. You can do one push-up. You can do one sit-up, because easy does it. And once you do it easy, it starts to become a habit, y'all. But the first step you got to take is to recognize what's stopping you from getting busy. You got to understand what these fears are. You have to understand why they're present. You got to be able to accept them. You got to love on yourself. You need to learn to forgive yourself for not being this fearless, superhuman warrior who can conquer everything, no matter how stressful it is, like there ain't nothing to it, because that person don't exist. I hope we all noticed that from the Oscars. That person doesn't exist. Nobody in this world matches that unrealistic description. Everybody hurts. Everybody fears. Everybody goes through things sometimes. But what you need to start with is recognizing, what is this? Is this a fear they're going to laugh at me? Is this a fear that this isn't going to work out? Is this a fear that I'm going to lose him or her? Is this a fear that I'll be made to look foolish? Is this a jealousy fear? Is this some kind of anger fear? What is it that I'm experiencing right now that is making me want to react with this fight or this flight? Because once you name it, you can control it. Here's the second one I got for you. You got to distinguish reasonable fear from unreasonable fear. Now, you know, we talked about this in the intro, right? But check it out. Fear has historically served the human race, right? Because what it does is it helps you distinguish between situations that represent a certain risk and situations that don't, right? This is how we were able to expand our lifespan, right? Because we need to know that ain't a kitty, that's a tiger, right? But what I'm saying to you is that there are many levels to fear. There are many levels, right, of danger. And our bodies pick up on these different levels. Sometimes it's physical. Sometimes it's more of a sophisticated, existential kind of thing. You just get a knowing in your knower, right? Any situation that represents some kind of risk, there's usually going to be some kind of fear attached to it, like fear of heights, right? Wild animals, right? Getting fired and having no way to pay your bills. Those are reasonable fears. But let me tell you some unreasonable fears. You know, the fear of clowns, the fear of making your phone calls for your business, the fear of birds, the fear of ghosts, right? Maybe this stuff makes life more difficult instead of making life easier. Maybe some of this is coming from you watching the local news too much. Now you fearing to go outside. Now you fearing to go to the supermarket. Where is this COVID stuff? I mean, is it crawling under grocery bags? Remember that? Remember that? And then all of a sudden, boom, they flip a switch. And it's time to not be scared of that no more. Be scared of this other thing. All I'm pointing out to you is that distinguishing reasonable from unreasonable fears is going to be a vital step to you getting your fears under your control. Whether you do it on your own or you get help from a professional. Stop fearing. See what I did there? Therapy. There are professionals that can help you become more certain of yourself. I cannot tell you how helpful therapy has been. When you are the type of personality I am, you don't share your stuff with nobody, right? When you're going through it, it's almost like you're always there for other people. And I know somebody out there feel me, you know, that's why you're here, because you're a servant leader of some sort, whether you have recognized it or not. And I bet you that so many of you can relate to the fact that sometimes you're the one everybody comes to with their problems and you have no one to go to. You need a therapist. You're trying to absorb the impact of everybody else's stuff. And before you know it, you're constantly in shock. You're constantly putting yourself under this pressure like you have to be perfect because everyone is looking at you. What you need to do is go to therapy. You'll get important life decisions that come across your desk, and you don't really know who you can talk to about it. You should try therapy because therapy helps you become a certain type of person. And let me tell you something about certainty. Fear comes from uncertainty. And when we're absolutely certain of our worth, it's like we're impervious to fear. Am I making sense, y'all? Here's the third one I got for you. You got to learn to, after you identify that bad boy, right, and name it, you give a name to it using your feeling wheel. If you need it, just ask me. I'll send it to you. And then after that, and you distinguish between reasonable and unreasonable fears. Here's the third one. You got to learn to analyze which parts you can control or avoid or change. Can somebody give me that in the comments? Analyze the parts you can control, avoid, or change. Analyze what you can control, avoid, or change. Because there's a lot of fears you can control by controlling the situations when they happen, right? Sometimes our fears might suggest that the best course of action that fits our needs, fits our preferences, is to make a left right here, or to make a right here, or go less often, stay less time, you know. But then there are other times where you find yourself not necessarily scared, but just not comfortable, right? Like if you're not comfortable in crowds, or you're not comfortable speaking in front of large audiences, or you're not comfortable spending time with highly competitive people, maybe it's time to consider a career. Maybe it's time to consider events that don't put you in those situations, right? But this is the thing. Sometimes you find yourself avoiding situations that can help you grow. Avoiding things that scare you ain't always the best course of action. Sometimes it might just be, but other times maybe it's time for you to look for some balance in your life, because there's no need to go against every tide that makes you feel uncomfortable. Sometimes fear can be you get nudged in a better direction. But you're the one that has to analyze that, and nobody else is allowed to judge you for that. You got me? Here's number 4 to that point. The fourth one I got for you is sometimes you have to consciously step out of your comfort zone. You know, they always talk about the 6 most expensive words in business. Since I'm talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, is we've always done it that way. We've always done it that way. The 6 most expensive words in all of entrepreneurship. We've always done it that way. We've always done it that way. That's an expensive sentence. That's an expensive sentence. So number 4 is step out of your comfort zone, because while there's no need to overcome every fear that comes your way, right? There's no need for you to try and pretend like you Superman or you Superwoman. I'll give you that. But you also got to then agree with me that running away from every situation that makes you feel slightly uncomfortable ain't going to help you get too far in life. Somebody give me this in the comments. There's no growth in the comfort zone, just like there's no comfort in the growth zone. Think about that for a minute. There's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone. Now, why is that interesting? Because in nature, you can only grow or die. You know, a piece of fruit can either grow or decay. A plant can either grow or begin to wilt. Am I right? Well, you're a part of nature, just like a fruit, just like a plant. And the thing about nature is ain't no maintain. Everything is in a constant state of flux. You're either growing or you're dying. Get used to it. Change is inevitable, but progress is optional. Get used to it. So the goal ain't to prove your fearlessness. The goal ain't to shelter yourself from any challenging situation that comes along. But what you got to do is at least strive for a healthy balance. A healthy balance between respecting your personal preferences and still supporting your growth still supporting your development, still making sure you ain't out here dying. You got to make sure you ain't one of these people that die at 25 and don't get buried until 60. Make sure you ain't just passing through this thing, man, avoiding everything you fear, like you somehow going to get the slide into your tombstone safely. Millionaires, there's no comfort in the growth zone. This is why we've got to learn to love our adversity. This is why we've got to work on our attitude. Because if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Not just to, you know what I mean, a laptop camera, but I'm saying to myself that when it gets hard, it's time for me to get excited, because that's the part they ain't willing to do. Here's number 5, y'all, on that note. Somebody say perfectionism is the curse of the poor and give me a share. Perfectionism is the curse of the poor and give me a share. If you can agree with that. If you can say, man, that's something I might need to ponder a little bit more. Perfectionism is the curse of the poor. It's a poverty curse. Millionaires, you got to let go of perfectionism. This will help you boost your courage so quick. This will help your courage skyrocket so quickly. Because what you got to understand is some of your fear ain't got nothing to do with your physical well-being. Some of your fear has more to do with your values and your sense of worthiness. You hear what I'm saying to you? And if you leave that unmanaged, then that fear can ruin your chances of meeting new people. That fear can ruin you getting the job that you really wanted. That fear can ruin you talking to prospects that could change your entire business. That fear could ruin you sharing valuable experiences with the world around you. All because you're going for perfectionism. I can't go out because I got this bump on my nose. Don't nobody give a damn about no bump on your nose. I can't go out because they're going to see my car. No one's thinking about your car. I can't go out. I can't participate. I can't call this person because I don't know everything about what I'm doing. Nobody knows everything about what they're doing. But what you're doing is you're cursing yourself to poverty. Perfectionism, this whole notion that things need to be perfect to be good, that need to be perfect to be worthy. You think that you've got incredible standards when really what you're showing yourself is you have no standards. Because perfectionism doesn't exist. So all we're saying is give up the idea of perfect deeds. Give up the idea, check this out, of perfect people. You know, one thing you're going to learn is that a lot of your angst, a lot of your stress, a lot of your fear, a lot of the fact that you are so hard on other people comes from the fact that you're so hard on yourself. Check it out. You have a whole list of the way that people must act, a whole list of the ways that the world must be, a whole list of the ways that you must come off to other people. But what if you decide to switch those from musts to just wishes, just desires that you get sometimes and sometimes you don't? When you decide to make these into things that people must do or the way the world must act, then all of a sudden you start to create a prison for yourself. You got to let go of this perfectionism, both in yourself and in expecting it from other people. And the last one I got for you that feeds perfectly from that is it's time to embrace uncertainty like an adventurer. That's number 6. Embrace uncertainty like an adventurer, right? Because there's 2 ways to look at all the uncertainty that comes our way in this crazy life. You can either let it become fear that holds you stuck, or you can embrace it like this crazy, wonderful, mystical, mysterious side of this thing called life, where all of a sudden, do y'all remember them books when we was little kids, them choose your own adventure books, where you could choose this option or choose that option? I'm going to tell you something. Many of us we had this thing where we try to control what's going on. We try to control our children. We try to control our spouse or our significant other. We try to control the way that we're perceived, instead of sometimes throwing caution to the wind and just seeing what happens. Man, I bet you if Chris Rock could have had it his way, that would have never happened. But do you know this man sold more tickets in one night than he had the previous 4 months combined? I just saw a statistic that said that he sold more tickets in one night than the previous 4 months all put together in one night. Sometimes you got to embrace uncertainty. You have no idea what the world is about to deliver you. And if you had it your best way, you'd avoid all the blessings that are waiting for you. So all I want you to do is think about this fact. Sometimes fear can make you stronger. Sometimes fear can make you more attentive. Sometimes fear can make you more resilient. But sometimes fear can bring you down and limit the possibilities that are in front of you. Millionaires, I hope you have enjoyed this. This is 6 different ways that I hope you wrote down in your power book that'll help you overcome fear, that'll help you kind of turn it into a useful trait rather than suffering from it a lot of times and dealing with the crippling effects of how a lot of things is kind of like easier said than done. You know, like that saying, like when it's all said and done, usually more is said than done. When it's all said and done, usually more is said than done. When it's all said and done, usually more is said than done. It's all because of fear. And you've got mechanisms, you've got choices, you've got all kinds of ways you can use this supercomputer called your mind to mitigate this fear. So if you've got something that we didn't include, let me see you throw it in the comments, throw it in the chat. If you got some that we didn't include that are your favorite, you know, turn the comments into a resource, especially if you're rocking with us on YouTube. And it's affirmation time. Y'all ever tried affirmations? Or are you scared? Y'all ever tried affirmations? Good, Mike. I'm glad you made it, bro. That's absolutely right, Donna. Yeah. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. That was a major transfer of energy. Yeah. Be honest about your vulnerability. That's exactly right. Because perfectionism is a curse of the poor. That's a fact. Perfectionism is a curse of the poor. All right, it's affirmation time, y'all. Perfectionism is a curse of the poor. That's exactly right. Let's get it. It's affirmation time. 667-776-9461. Call in right now. 667-776-9461. Call in right now. 667-776-9461. Call in right now. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, repeat after me, millionaires. You know, say it like you mean it. Say it like you mean it. You ready? Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Say it like you mean it. Use this feeling wheel, y'all. Use this thing. I'm telling you. All right, let's get it. All right, repeat after me. Repeat after me. Say it like you mean it. I am so happy and grateful.